Yo, what's up, everyone? My name is Andrew Warren, and today we got what I would call a stock market crash. As you can see, VOO, which basically mirrors the index, it's down 4.51%. Microsoft is down 3.28%, Apple's down 5.19%, and then Tesla is down a pretty significant 9.11%. I think it was about due time for Tesla. But as you can see with my portfolio here, my total loss is 4.65% or $2,700 about it. And honestly, if I'm going to be real with you guys, I was excited when I saw the market going down like this today. And I was actually hoping it would go down even more. I think I woke up at like 1 p.m. and I saw it was like, down 3.95%. And low-key, I was actually just hoping it would go down even more. I was hoping for like a 10% drop. And I know that seems crazy to some of you out there probably that just really want the market to just be more bullish again. But personally, I want to see the market drop a little bit more. I'm hoping that we haven't hit the bottom, and I really don't think we have whatsoever. But the reason I'm hoping we have a more significant drop than this point on March 23rd is because I just want to buy more stocks on sale. When you have the opportunity to buy stocks on sale, it's like a once in every 5 to 10 years thing. It really doesn't happen very often, and when you do buy stocks when they're on sale like that, you are greatly increasing your future returns because that rebound gain is always really significant. So if you buy at a low point and then it hits the rebound, you're going to be gaining much more money than if you bought it, say this point right here, it went down and then it went back up again. So the time that it will take you to get those gains with just normal investing compared to investing on the dip, it would just take you so much longer to get that percentage compared to buying when it's at a low point, like somewhere in here. But anyways, like I said earlier, and I've been saying this in the last few videos as well, I truly don't think that we have hit the bottom yet. I've actually seen a lot of people telling me to buy now and that we've hit the bottom. Somebody actually told me that yesterday. Of course, everyone's opinion is valid, but I just have to disagree with that, and I'm very glad that I have my own perspective on things, because if I were listening to that yesterday, I would have bought at a high point and then lost money today with this 4% drop that we have here. Basically, my logic with all of this is I'm not going to buy any more Microsoft until it gets 135 per share or lower, just because that's kind of like my threshold. That was like the previous low point that we've had. If you look at like the past month or so, it's like 135, but the absolute lowest low that I saw on that same day was at 133. So if I can get it at least at 135 or lower, I'll probably get more shares of Microsoft. But as you can see, Microsoft is just such a resilient company in stock compared to everything else. You have VOO, which basically averages out a bunch of the top stocks, and that's down 4.51, Apple's down 5.09, Tesla's down 9.11. And then as you can see with Microsoft, it's resilient as always. I've been telling everyone how resilient Microsoft has been in this crash, and when it does rebound, it rebounds a lot as well. So not only is it resilient, it grows a lot, and then when it does go down, it rebounds pretty fast as well on those positive days. But anyways, I just wanted to share my thoughts and opinions on the market currently. I don't know if tomorrow's going to be a positive day. I feel like if it was actually reflecting the truth of the news and the surrounding environment, tomorrow would be a negative day. But as you can tell, the market has been super weird lately, so it's very hard to predict. That's why they say don't time the market, don't try to time the market. Because as you can see with the last few days, if you were trying to time the market based on the surrounding news and everything, you would be predicting that it would have gone down like the last week, in which it did the exact opposite. We had the best 3-day streak in the stock market since 1931 and all of that crazy stuff. So it is very hard to time the market when it's pretty volatile like this and unpredictable. But just to run it through for you guys real quick and show you my losses today. Today I lost $12.50 in VOO. I lost $5.05 in Microsoft. I lost $5.43 in Apple, that's 5.09%. And then in Tesla, I lost $3.82. Now, I've been saying this in the past few videos as well, but the craziest thing is I invested in VOO because it's one of those things that a lot of people invest in because it's considered safe, since it's basically like an average percentage of some of the top companies. So you would expect it to be safe, but in comparison to a lot of my other growth stocks, it's actually performed a lot worse. Now with Apple, of course Apple was a little bit more down today and Tesla was as well. But when you look at Microsoft, this really just makes me think like Is VOO as safe as everyone acts like? Because, and I know it's safe in terms of it basically just averaging everything out, but when you compare it to a company that you know is pretty safe just because it grows so much and it's resilient, such as Microsoft, it really makes me think like, man, I kind of wish I would have invested a little bit more of that 34K into Microsoft instead of such a significant amount in VOO, because as you can see, VOO is so far down, like its drop made it to where it was only up 11% over the past 5 years at that low point, and that is a very significant drop. So in the future, I've sort of learned a lesson from this. Although it seemed at first like VOO would be the safe option if you don't want to lose a lot of money during a crash or something, it's turned out that Microsoft has just performed much better than VOO. Even in the past year, Microsoft is still not even close to being negative in terms of growth percentage. So it has been much safer than VOO, and Apple has been as well. So I've sort of learned my lesson that VOO is mostly going to be something I use for my Roth IRA, because that's just really the one that you consider safe. I'll probably go partial on VOO and Microsoft and maybe some other higher growth stocks. It just depends. But I have learned a pretty good lesson, and that is, personally for me, I don't think VOO is that good in terms of it being safer compared to some of these other stocks like Microsoft. Now, all of this is simply my personal opinion. I say this in every single video. These videos are not to be considered financial advice. It is just me talking about my thoughts and opinions about the stock market, the moves that I'm making, and all of the things along those lines. But I feel like for me personally, VOO just isn't as safe as I thought it was. Now, it is pretty safe in terms of you're basically getting an average of 10% over every year. But when it's a drop like this, you really lose a lot more than you would with other stocks such as Microsoft. So I think that's an important lesson to learn, and it's important that I've learned this lesson firsthand. But just to show you all the all-time graph, I'm down 13.44% so far, which is 8,500. Actually, not too bad. I can work with that. But I'm also a person with a high risk tolerance, so none of this really stresses me out at all. I simply view these drops as a buying opportunity rather than something to be stressed over. And one of the big reasons for that is just because I have so long to invest until I need to take this money out, which would be like 40 years from now. But just to cover a few more stocks that I think are at least interesting to look at every day, especially the cruise line stocks like CCL, it was actually above $10 for the past week until today, and when it recently declined 33%. So it's finally under $10, and I will have to admit, when it went above $10, I thought, dang, I probably should have bought it when it was under $10. But I'm just really not sure if I'm going to purchase this stock yet. I like to keep my portfolio at a very, very minimum. As you can tell, I only own 4 stocks, but I do have large holdings in each of them. But CCL and some of the other cruise line stocks like Norwegian Cruise Lines and stuff, I think those could be some pretty good options for that potential rebound gain, because as you can see over the past 5 years, it's on like an average of $40 to $60. That's basically the average, the baseline for this stock. So as you can tell, it's gone down so much lately with them stopping the cruises and everything. But eventually, once this thing blows over, it may be a long time. It could be a year, it could be 2 years. I'm hoping that it won't take that long. It could actually just be a few months, but you really never know with this thing. But going with the logic that we eventually get this situation solved, or at least the problem diminishes, we will have this baseline once again, and this rebound will be pretty solid. So as long as this is within like the next 2 years, this problem is solved within the next 2 years, I assume people will probably get some good gains if they invest in this stock, just because it's going to be such a huge rebound. And if we look up Norwegian Cruise Lines as well, let's see if we can find this. I know this one was one that dropped a lot. So actually, I think Norwegian Cruise Lines would be a much better option than CCL. If someone were to invest in cruise line stocks, or if I were to invest in cruise line stocks, I think Norwegian Cruise Lines would just be much better, because you can look, its baseline is much more consistent in terms of the share price compared to CCL, and the drop is actually much more than, actually no, it's probably about the same as CCL. But I think this is just the better option because the baseline is more consistent. So if I were to invest in this stock simply for that fast rebound gain that could occur within the next year or so, I could actually probably 5 times my initial share investment until it hits that baseline and then sell once again. I just realized that this graph was actually for the 1 year thing, so the 5 years a little bit more inconsistent, but as you can see, the 5 years about $47, $55. That's about the average baseline. But it does seem that Norwegian Cruise Lines has dropped a bit more. And I'm not going to lie, I am pretty tempted to go for a stock like this just because of that potential short-term rebound gain. I certainly would not invest in these cruise line stocks long-term. I do not think they are good stocks long-term whatsoever compared to other options like Microsoft, Apple, and even other stocks like VOO, because I think sometimes there is potential. If you invest at that baseline average, there's potential for you to lose money and not even gain a positive percentage with these risky cruise line stocks. Now, I know a lot of people may disagree with this one, but I do think cruise line stocks are pretty risky considering if you look at the past 5 years, even at its peak, it was only up 9%. That's not even worth my investment. That's like less than 2% a year. You could almost get that in a savings account interest rate. So for long term, I don't think cruise line stocks are worth the money whatsoever. I don't think cruise line stocks are worth the money for dividends either because you're going to lose more in terms of you missing out on growth compared to what you're going to get in those high dividend yields. And as you can see with this one, it doesn't even have one, and I wonder if CCL canceled theirs. So I guess CCL still has theirs. CCL actually had a higher peak than Norwegian Cruise Line, so it does have that going for it, 71.65. But that's just my personal opinion on it. I think the cruise line stocks are interesting just because of that short-term rebound gain, but I do not think they're worth looking at in terms of a long-term holding. But anyways, I just wanted to share this video with you all. I really do hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please make sure to smash that like button. It truly helps me out, and it helps me grow this channel and get videos recommended. We've actually been growing the channel a lot lately here, so I appreciate all of you amazing people that have decided to subscribe. And if you're thinking about getting started with investing, feel free to use my referral links for Robinhood and Webull down in the description and the top of the comment section below. Both you and I will get some free stocks if you sign up with my referral link, but I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week.